Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from Attaboy Cowboy, and in today's video I want to talk a little bit about how to deal with frequent urination in men and women. So I had an experience recently. I was starting to urinate about 4 or 5 times a night, and I thought, oh man, okay, so that obviously meant I need to go see the urologist. So I went to go see the urologist, and he did some tests, a blood test, and then he said, okay, you have an enlarged prostate, which is pretty typical for someone my age. I'm almost 50, and as we age, as we mature, things change in your body. And as we've mentioned before, you need to be flexible. Nothing that happens to you should really stress you like, oh my God, I'm changing. Change is inevitable. Everything changes, including your body. You simply have to be flexible and adjust to the conditions. So I talked to the urologist and I said, okay, so what should I do? Should I exercise? Should I take some supplements? What should I do? And he said, well, none of that is going to have an impact. You need to start taking Flomat, which is one of the more common prescription medications used for frequent urination for men that have enlarged prostate. And I thought, well, let me see what I can do on my own and see if I can adjust it with lifestyle redesign. Something I learned when I was studying to be an occupational therapist is most things have a root cause, and you have to treat the cause, the root, to get rid of the problem. Another thing is, oftentimes when I speak to my colleagues, I have to remind myself that yeah, he's an oncologist, he's a urologist, he studied a long time, and this guy knows a lot, okay? But he has a very specialized field, and there's so much to learn in the world. I mean, think about how many things there are to learn. We know 0.0000001 of what there is to learn. There's an infinite amount of things. So no one person can know everything. It's just not possible, especially someone that's really busy, like a urologist. I, for one, work 12 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm really busy. And when I'm not working, I take trips like this. Right now I'm on a cruise ship in the Pacific with my family for about a week, and I'm getting ready to go to the gym. It's about 4 in the morning, and I thought, oh, this is a great time to share this beautiful view with you of the cruise ship and the facilities here. There's a pool here, and then there's a large big screen up there where we watch movies at night. So when you're really busy and you're focused on one particular field, you might not have enough time to specialize in something else like diet, exercise, and nutrition. And I'll give you an example. I'm drinking some green tea here, okay? And green tea is famous because it's so good for you. People are like, wow, it's really good for anti-aging. It's really good for anti-cancer. It has ECGC, which is one of the preemptive or most important components. Let me say that over. It has ECGC, one of the most studied components of green tea that's good for anti-aging and anti-cancer. But green tea in itself has hundreds, if not thousands, of different components. So do we know what all those do? No. It's going to take years. So most things are not studied. We know very little about most things. All right. So that's why sometimes you hear, oh, this food is really good for you, and everybody's buying it. Then they find out, you know what? Having this food in high doses is bad for your health. And then some people are like, what's going on? It's like back and forth. I don't know who to trust. No, it's not that they're not being honest. It's just that science is dynamic. Everything changes, and as we learn more, it pushes the frontiers forward. So that's a good thing. So it's a good thing when you're learning more and more, and you should always be learning because things are always going to change, especially now that we have so much technology and science to feed off from. So in terms of prostate, I thought, okay, what can I do? So I started asking more of my colleagues, and I spoke to my friend Anna, a doctor in Cali, Colombia, and she says, okay, have you tried sitting when you urinate? And that immediately brought memories of my childhood. when you're a boy and you joke around with your friends and you go, hey guys, I gotta go to the bathroom, I gotta pee. They'll start joking, hey, you're gonna go sit while you pee, and it's like funny. And it's kind of like you're putting shade on someone, like you're a girl, you're gonna go sit because you have a vagina. It's like a kind of crude joke that boys use. And it made me laugh, and I thought, really? Go sit while I pee? I thought, okay, well, guess what? I tried it, and wow, it was great. In one sitting, I was able to completely empty my bladder, and now I'm able to just pee like once a night instead of 4 or 5 times a night. And I would have never thought that something so simple would have such a profound effect. I started thinking about it. And I remembered recently going to my cousin's house in Texas. Check this out, my cousin made his house and he made a urinal just for him. Isn't that cool? Look, here's his wife's side. And then here's his side. Look at his bathroom. It's so cool. Got a big shower. Got like a hot tub here. Then they have 2 separate closets. My God, look at this thing. It's huge. Esa es tu esposa. Big. Look at this big old closet. How secure. And then he's got his closet over here. He's got enough clothes for a lot of people. Look at all these boots and stuff. Cowboy hats. All right. So the setup for men when you go to the restroom is, you know, football games, stadiums, everything. There's urinals and they're very convenient. But the truth is they're not real good for you. It's better for men to sit when you urinate. The reason being is when you get prostatitis, you know, an enlarged prostate, it basically, think about drinking through a straw. You drink through a straw that's unobstructed, you're gonna get lots of flow, you're gonna drink lots of water, or whatever it is you're drinking. If you drink through a straw that's pinched, obviously there's gonna be less flow. So it's kind of the same thing when you're urinating and the urine's coming out of your bladder. The prostate, when it's enlarged, it pushes in and it kind of squeezes on the ureter. So it's harder to get the urine out. So when you'll feel this real strong urge to pee because your bladder's filling up, but then when you go pee, you're actually straining your prostate further and making it enlarge more. When you pee, you squeeze it out and you don't empty completely, then you have to pee again and that causes the frequent urination. You have to keep going back because you're getting an incomplete emptying of the bladder. That's why when you go to the urologist, they'll do a scan of your bladder. They'll have you pee and they'll check and they'll say, oh, you still have 38% or 50%, you know, your bladder's still 50% full or 30% full. That means you're not emptying all the way. So how can you help facilitate a more complete emptying without stressing your prostate and causing it to enlarge more? Very simple, as Anna told me. Use gravity. You sit down and it just, gravity just pulls it out. You don't have to push. And it's been a real game changer for me. I don't have to take any medications, because remember, all medications have side effects. So you want to avoid as much as you can. In the US, we average about 7 medications for every American. That's a lot. You want to try to avoid that. I take 0 and I want to keep it that way. So I was able to solve my problem. And then I started thinking about when I was in school. One time I had this professor, he was a PhD, and we would have our frequent meetings. We were going over coursework. And we were talking about a research study we were doing on garlic. And then he talked to me, he kind of broke off our topic and he said, hey, I gotta ask you something. Because he knew that I was a naturopathic doctor and an occupational therapist. He was, I have this problem, I keep urinating and I can't control it. And I thought, oh, okay. And he started talking to me and okay, well, it's common because think about it, most people have a sedentary lifestyle. They sit at work, and then they go home, they sit on the couch, and that causes a lot of weakness in your pelvic floor. Basically where your genitals are at, where your bladder's at, the muscles are weak. So then when you start building up urine in your bladder, you don't have a lot of strength to sustain it. So you gotta frequently pee. Now, overactive bladder is a real general term they use for men and women that pee all the time. It could be caused by diabetes, it could be caused by urinary tract infection, it can be caused by dozens of things. But in this point of view, I'm gonna talk about the muscular component. Okay, some people, men and women, have weakness. So you need to strengthen that pelvic floor to kind of keep that urine in there. So what I suggested to this PhD professor I had, in his case, he did not have prostatitis. He did not have enlarged prostate, but he did have the frequent urination. His was caused by weakness in the pelvic floor. So I suggested doing Kegel exercises. These exercises are great. You can do it while you're sitting at a desk, you're sitting on a couch, you can squeeze a pillow, a ball, whatever. I squeeze my knuckles sometimes. I'll just put my fist between my hand, I'll squeeze it. That helps make that area stronger. So it's gonna be less frequent urination, and it's actually going to help you with your sexual life. It's going to help your erection be stronger in a man, and for the woman, it's going to help your vagina be stronger. So it's going to help you with that also. So for women, it's the same deal. I'll talk to a woman, they'll tell me, Doc, I keep urinating, I'm not sure what's going on. You know, once they check and they see there's no urinary tract infections, all these other issues that could be going on, we look at the muscular component. Okay, what's going on here? Well, the woman is sedentary, doesn't exercise a lot, not having a lot of sex, because sex is actually good. It helps make your vagina muscle stronger. Less sex actually makes them weaker. You know, sometimes I'll hear people tell me, oh, that girl's all loose, you know, she's a prostitute or whatever, she has a lot of sex. They think the vagina gets looser. It's actually the opposite. It's a muscle. It gets stronger the more sex the woman has. The less sex, it gets weaker, the muscles, and the vagina sometimes will even start to narrow, the opening. So they'll try to have sex. I was talking to a woman recently, a patient, and she said, Doc, I haven't had sex for like 5 years, and I tried to have sex and it hurt, you know, and what's going on? You know, I'm 50 years old. I go, whoa, you haven't had sex in a while. It starts to narrow and it gets harder to have sex. So obviously if you have sex, it opens up again and it won't be so painful, but you'll also build up the strength, and that can help with if you have an overactive bladder. But on a daily basis, you know, definitely try Kegels for men and women. Now, in terms of diet and nutrition, come on, everything that happens to you in your health, you should examine your lifestyle. What are you doing or not doing? Are you getting enough exercise? Are you eating right? Are you eating the right foods? That's why I like supplements, and I almost always recommend supplements to people, because most people do not eat the correct diet. They don't eat everything they need to eat. You know, they think they're eating right, but they don't eat vegetables, or they don't eat fruits, or they don't eat grains, or they're not eating legumes. So they have deficiencies. So vitamins and supplements are not going to cure you, but they are going to help fill in small gaps in your diet. You might say, oh, I'm eating a lot of this and that. Okay, but are you eating orange vegetables? Are you eating vegetables that have vitamin A? Maybe not. Maybe you're eating a lot of greens. Maybe you're not eating enough of this, or you're not getting enough calcium or magnesium in your diet, and that's where these supplements come in. Remember, just like magnesium, like 90% of Americans are deficient in it. So how are you gonna get it? Well, it's pretty hard. There's not a lot of things you can get it in. You do get it in Brazil nuts and some other things that you probably don't want to eat, like organ meats. So why not just take some supplements? So always examine your diet, and definitely if you have an overactive bladder, if you have prostate disease, there's a list of things you can do, supplements like saw palmetto, zinc, that are really good. There's many more. And definitely you want to cut down red meat, dairy products, and all these other things that are going to cause more inflammation. You want to cut your weight down. You want to, if you ride bicycles or you're sitting on like narrow seats, that's going to put pressure on your prostate. That's not real good. You have to look at other components of your life, of the things that you do in the work, your work you do, the exercises you do. Those could all be affecting your prostate. In my case, I don't ride a bike, I don't eat meats, I do take supplements. I just got enlarged prostate, and that's okay. It's part of life. And I made some adjustments. I'm now sitting when I urinate. I know my friends are gonna make fun of me for that, but it's helped me. I got rid of my problems. Now I'm able to get better sleep. I sleep right through the night. I don't have to take any medications, and I can go on cruises and do other stuff just like I normally do. So thanks for listening. And from the Princess Cruise Line out here in the Pacific, this is Dr. Ernesto. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.